going strong and we're just getting started. A leadership who stands to the rightful path. The greener grass is here, the better choice is clear. Choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really means. To choose Jamaica, choose JLP. Yes, we're building a better future together. Stay true no matter the weather. JLP standing bold through every plan and school and road. From hardships to hope, we've been paving the way. The very best of Jamaica starts today. And so we pledge our hearts to uphold our path. We've been going strong and we're just getting started. A leadership who stands to the rightful path. The greener grass is here, the better choice is clear. Choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really means. To choose Jamaica, choose JLP. Yes, we will see the fruit of we labor. We are getting now, not no later. He is a leader, real and competent. And you always is the confidence. Yes, we will see the fruit of we labor. We are getting now, not no later. Prosperity for you and me. Choose Jamaica, choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really means. To choose Jamaica, choose JLP. Choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really means. To choose Jamaica, choose JLP.
Good evening, Liberates, and good evening to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Labourite alive, and now the voice of the Westmoreland people. Good evening, my people, and good evening to the P6 crew. Now, I am going to do the shoutouts, as I did not do the shoutouts earlier on that live. That live was, a breaking news live. So, it weren't really one of our regular live, but I promised that I would do the FINSAC live. So, we're going to go through, the FINSAC stuff. And Mark Golding was one of the architects of FINSAC, along with his buddies, Peter Bunting and Chris Deering. They helped to mash up Jamaica, and we have the evidence that they were involved. So we're coming to do a lot of the evidence to the people this evening. So many moons ago we had a live similar to this. So for the persons that were here from them time there, you guys will be familiar with this. But over time we have to go over the material to continue to spread the message of how damaging these persons are to the Jamaican economy. So let's roll out the shoutouts, my people, and then we're going to get into it. So remember the drill. As you come into the live, hit the 3 dots in the right hand corner of the screen, hit the thumbs up button, and do subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. See? So Javane, big up yourself. Big up yourself, Marlene Smith. Big up yourself, Amai. Big up yourself, Vandora. See? And big up yourself to my beautiful wife. Good evening, baby. Saya, big up yourself. Miss Jackie, big up yourself. Father Dark Knight, big up yourself as well. Junior, big up yourself. Is that a ghost? Big up yourself. PB, big up yourself. Bless, big up yourself. And Marcia Cunningham, big up yourself. Guys, remember, in order to get a shout out, you have to comment something for me to see you. It is anonymous, my people. I can't see who is watching. This is not TikTok. So I can't see the people who is watching. So you have to comment something to get a shout out. So Marlene Smith, big up yourself. Dan Rowe, good evening, big up yourself. And get me to as many thumbs up as possible. Now we're going to take you guys to a clip. I also have an article to read. So we're going to play the clip in parts. We'll take a pause, we'll discuss it, and I have an article to show you guys irrefutable proof that Mark Golding and Peter Bunting had benefited from FINSAC. Dan Brown, big up yourself. Danet Cunningham, big up yourself. See? So here we go, my people.
Context. The Observer writes about it to this effect that the financial shock, which began in 1991 in Jamaica, ballooned unchecked over the next 5 years until it exploded with a catastrophic bang in 1996. The explosion left shrapnel scattered over the financial landscape, which still impacted on the economy so many years later. Our Sister Valerie Dixon is a survivor of that shock that the Observer talk about, a survivor of the government's response to the financial crisis of the 1990s. And she's, as we have said, written her book, Too Black to Succeed, the FINSAC Experience, on the phone lines. Lady President of the UNI Eastern Chapter, educator, author, entrepreneur, and grandmother. My sister Valerie Dixon,
So what I want to bring out this morning is that a lot of people do not understand where this thing came from. And I want to just read a little from an appendix that was written in the Observer.
Guys, mic check. You not tell me if you not hear me correctly, and you tell me if you not see me. See? So not tell me if you not hear me and tell me if you not see me. May I see comments, but I just want to check. See? So Lady J, I just saw you pop in. Big up yourself. Big up Lisa Morris and big up Ellen Mackenzie. So before we go any further, guys, there's 62 of us. Hit the 3 dots in the right hand corner of the screen. Get me to 50 thumbs up, please. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. So everybody hear me. All right, good.
Time ago, it says, when Omar Davis, then PNP finance minister in the 1990s, began the process of dismantling the Central National Bank, it was done immediately after the Don Crawford-run entity had bought a significant sum of US dollars at a few dollars more than the price that the official exchange rate indicated. The bank did nothing which other banks were not doing in a time when an inept PNP government was struggling with managing a market economy which it knew little or nothing about. What the sale of those dollars...
So you hear that? PNP government, who was doing things that they know nothing about. They did not know how to manage an economy, my people. And we have suffered dearly. Many times, me tell you, say PNP can't manage a country. But we continue to listen.
Was revealed that the very same finance ministry was covertly, that means underground, dispatching agents with huge stacks of cash in the trunks of their cars to buy US dollars at prices above the official exchange rate. The money was stolen eventually. With blood rushing to its head when this action was revealed, an embarrassed PNP government set about withdrawing public funds from the Central National Bank, making it...
I hear that? A corrupt PNP went about joining public funds. Me and your money what we have in a bank. The PNP government go in a bank and start job with money. You know, hear me I want to know Jamaica. Jamaica, you hear me I want to know. See, we know what we are talking about, We are very well versed. We study all of these things. I will come before in a time and time make up to tell you say PNP is not good for this country. You know, here we are want to know. All right.
Publicly known. And in the process, it started or triggered a run on the bank, which was seemingly designed to end its life. That, however, is a sad history for the most progressive bank existing in Jamaica at that at that time. So if you withdraw money from the most progressive bank at the time, what do you think is bound to happen? It is going to trigger what is known as a domino effect. Everybody, there's going to be a run or a rush on the bank for people trying to get out their monies. And we do not understand, most of us.
So when in Jamaica history did we see a rush on the bank before? And what happened? So in 1973 or 1974, when Michael Manley told the Jamaican people that if you don't like how I am running things here, there is 5 flights a day to Miami. And the people at that time, the middle class people of that time, went to the banks and start withdrawing their money. Them the time the Jamaican dollar was same as a United States dollar. See, we had the same effect. So $1 US was $1 Jamaican dollar. See, so our money was very strong that time. See, so what happened, my people, when Michael Manley made that utterance, the people went and started withdrawing their money from the banks and start leaving the island, and that created a domino effect that destroyed the economy. It took Edward Seaga 9 years to build it back, and after 9 years, they voted him out and voting back the PNP, and guess what? 3 years after voting in back the PNP sat out to not learn anything from Michael Manley days and start to destroy the economy again, purposefully this time. Mighty God, we continue to listen.
Of us, what the effect or the repercussions or the consequences of such a run on a bank would actually do. Because if you affect one thing over here, it is going to affect other things over there.
All right, so that takes us, Val, to your own personal experience, which you wrote about in the book with FINSAC. Right. Let us go there. And you and your husband, you were in the construction industry. Talk to us about that.
Yes. And I think the whole world understands that when you're in the construction industry, unfortunately, you have to be the one who is, well, it wouldn't be wise for you to capitalize that job you have out of your own pocket. So you are dependent on the banking system to finance you upfront, because in construction, you have to put down the building, and as you go along, you can then certify that the work is done so you can get paid from the client. But in the meantime, you have your expenses such as salaries and wages, you have your utility bills, you have your suppliers, you have everybody to pay until you get paid. So when your bank collapses, which was Workers' Bank, and you are now faced with not being able to get funding, what do you think is going to happen? Your creditors are going to be down on you. In other words, everything now comes crashing down on you, and your only fault or crime was to go and borrow money that you must use because nobody...
I want to listen to this part, my people. I'm going to show you just how wicked the PNP was when they realized, see, that the banks was crashing. The PNP put up what you call it now? They put up the amount of money you would pay back on your loan. See? So they put up interest rates overnight. So you would have gone to the bank and borrowed 100,000 Jamaican dollars. Say you was to pay 10% interest on that. And overnight the PNP would have risen that from 10%, in some cases 150%. So you not only owe 100,000 plus the 10% now. Now you owe 1,100,000. See? In some cases where people borrowed 10 million, that person now owe 100 million. That's what the PNP did to the people of Jamaica overnight. I want to listen.
Nobody's going to really, as I said, finance people's houses, building shopping malls, whatever, out of their own pocket, unless you're one of those types. But anyway, let me just quickly go on. So you are faced with Hobson's choice, which is no choice at all. You have to give collateral in order to secure these loans. And by collateral, we mean you have got to mortgage something or give up something for the bank to say, you want $1 million? Bring 40,000 acres worth of property come. So the bank holds on to that. Sooner or later, with your being stymied or held at almost gunpoint, you are not able to get financing. You are not able to get payment from your clients. So you have to now go and seek every possible means. And one of them is to put your house up for mortgage. Or better yet, as collateral again. I've just It said the tragic irony is that many producers and manufacturers in Jamaica, trusting that their government to invest in state-of-the-art equipment to improve their efficiency, only to be crushed by the high cost of servicing the debt, that is high interest rates, which are generally harmful. Many sought out new export markets to increase their...
So, one of my moderator, them Black Barney, Walcock off of me. Of my life. Me certainly you hear me I say no, you hear a lady attack and you come and tell me say me a fool and me don't know what me a talk about. So one of my moderator them, since me a fool and me don't know what me a talk, when I block him off of my life, go somewhere else, go listen to something else. It's plain and simple as that. See? Anyway, we continue. And we are going to take a pause in this so I can start reading the article, but let's just listen to another 5 minutes of this, my people.
But lost them as their competitiveness vanished through government's exchange rate policies. Many strengthened their marketing only to be overwhelmed by the advantage given to imported competition by the government's unwise, liberalized trade policies. And I'll stop there for a moment. Every time it is the foreigners who get the edge or the advantage over local producers and local manufacturers who are the homegrown variety.
Yeah, well, ladies say, every time it is the foreigners that gets a look in. So when I hear PNP come down and talk about China take over and a foreign, it is the PNP that brought the foreigners here. They are already here. So we have to work with them. See? We continue to listen.
In the FINSAC debacle, we were in business for over 20 years. Another company was in business for over 50 years. Another company founded by our national hero, George Gordon, was over 100 years old. And again, we ask the question. The government contented itself to believe that companies which had been conducting business successfully for decades were suddenly struck en masse with ineptitude, stupidity, and amnesia as to how to properly run a business.
Explain to us, Val, what do the government do exactly? Because we only talk about the FINSAC debacle. What exactly?
Listen to what the government do. I want to listen with understanding, my people, because we like to teach, and we are stewards of history. Seeing all of these things, we can't make them go by the wayside. We have to teach the Jamaican masses, so we don't make them mistake again by putting back the PNP in power, because they do not understand economics. And every time we put them in power, they destroy the economy. And the economy is the engine that fuels Jamaica. You cannot get road if you don't have a good economy. You cannot get hospital if you don't have a good economy. You cannot get fire stations, clinics, police station, police cars. You can't get absolute nothing if you don't have a good economy, my people. It is the engine that fuels us. Seeing so, especially when I look at things that we don't have down at Westmoreland, is because the PNP could not grow the economy in 19 years that they spent there. Children were born and turned adults by the time PNP left government. and they could not do anything for the Westmoreland people. So, because they couldn't fix the economy and they can't grow it, they don't know if to manage it. So listen to this, why Jamaica went into the position that it went into. Listen.
Exactly what we're talking about.
Okay. You went to your bed last night and interest rate, let's say for argument's sake, is at 30%. You wake up this morning and you see a headline in the paper, in the newspaper that says, government to increase interest rate to 64%. Please tell me which business would be able to fill that gap between paying interest rate at 30% and suddenly jump with no notice to paying interest rate at 60 and probably more. Interest overdraft interest rate went up overnight to 120%.
You hear that? Interest rate went up overnight to 120%. Now you tell me how somebody was going to be able to pay that without any notice. Somebody tell me. It is an absolute disgrace how the PNP treated the people, the middle classes of Jamaica, the people that fuel the economy. And today they are here to act as if they are brand new. We must tell them to lift up.
And the impact of that action on businesses was what you are describing.
That is exactly what I'm describing. So how is it that these people who are running business for over all these decades suddenly overnight become bad debtors? Do you see the point I'm making there?
Yes, as a matter of fact,
we were villainized.
Yes.
We were hounded down like common criminals. And we had to watch our businesses go up in smoke. While foreign investors came in, they got tax breaks, they got tax holidays, and we were what?
So you hear that? So this is in the PNP time, you know. And this lady is saying they came in, they got tax breaks, they got tax holiday. Who no here say they have tax break in Jamaica? China. Now China no here say no pay no tax. But the PNP want to say that JLP brought in Chinese and Chinese ain't paying no tax. It was a deal that the PNP made with them from them time there. See? It is a good deal in some cases because they are bringing in stuff and they're bringing in employment for the people. But it is PNP that orchestrated it, my people. It is not the Jamaica Labour Party. The Jamaica Labour Party never saw power for 18 and a half, 19 years, my people. See, all of these things was already set in stone when we got power in 2007. See?
Aside and discarded as rubbish. We were called bad debtors.
As a matter of fact, for those who have a copy of the book, you'll see that the Appendix F, Anatomy of the FINSAC Debtor, which was published in the Sunday Gleaner 2011, July 10 by Claude Clark, guest columnist, starts out by saying, and I don't know if you have that, you can read that first, Val, where he says part of the fallout from the FINSAC folly has been the summary dismissal of the thousands of productive Jamaican business persons.
Big up to Millie Johnson and big up to the Londoners. Saying Taylor Rooster, big up yourself, my boss. White Style Politics, big up yourself. Danette Cunningham, big up yourself. Blessy Bless, big up yourself. Saying Prudence, big up yourself as well. See? So we're here to teach the masses. We continue to teach the masses. Michael Lawrence, big up yourself as well.
As bad debtors. And this is what you're saying.
Yes, that after more than a century of successful Jamaican businesses, the 1990s ushered in a period in which the positive relationship between productive entrepreneurs and their financial partners or banks came to a crashing halt. Thousands of healthy Jamaican businesses, some of which had grown to become regional and world beaters, were disdainfully discarded by our national economic stewards as bad debtors.
Wow. And by discarded, because you now can help us to understand what Claude Clark meant now, because I'm sure when it's a long letter and he would have gone through that. But
before she read that, my people, may I get into the article because I suspect she probably invested and I want to hear out the whole Korea. But you can tell me if you don't want me cut it short or not. But I'm going to start upon the article as well. See? If I can just get it up right now. So, this is a PDF file that I downloaded of JIS, my people. So if you don't need to find this information that I'm going to read out to you, it is on JIS. Right? So, I don't need to tell you no lie. And I make this up. This is from the Jamaica Information Service Archives. See? So, it goes, Office of the Contractor General, Special Report of Bunting and Golding. See? Ministry of Finance and Public Service, formerly the Ministry of Finance and Planning. Alright. So we'll get down in it now. Introduction. On May 22nd, 2008, the Office of the Contractor General, OCG, acting on behalf of the Contractor General and pursuant to Section 15(1) and 16 of the Contractor General Act 1983, initiated an investigation into circumstances surrounding the allegation or alleged sweetheart deal, involving the government of Jamaica and Deering, Bunting and Golding Limited. Consequently, by way of a letter which was dated 2008 June 2nd, the Contractor General wrote to the Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Finance and Public Service, and Miss Darlene Morrison, the then acting Financial Secretary, formally advising them of the OCG's decision to commence an investigation into the matter. Section 15(1) of the Contractor General Act provides that a contractor general may, if he consider it necessary or desirable, conduct an investigation into any or all of the following matters. See? Hold on. Let me see. Shout out some people. So Michelle, good evening. Big up yourself, Junior. Big up yourself, Marvia. See? So big up on yourself. Welcome. Guys, get me to 50 thumbs up now. 2 more thumbs up. And please subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. See? Prudence says some of us voters will prefer to go to hell than to choose Jamaica and do what is right at times. I am totally disgusted and annoyed with some of us Jamaicans. We are so blind, deaf and dumb to reality. Exactly. We are at 50 thumbs up, so big up on yourself. Everybody that gave me a thumbs up, big up on yourself. See? So A, the registration of contractors. B, tender procedures relating to contracts awarded by public bodies. C, award of any government contract. So them just go through the stuff that they will investigate, my people. So let us move on from that. Hold on, let me skip out something. Alright, come. It's right here. Section 16 of the Contractor General Act expressively provides that an investigation pursuant to Section 15 may be undertaken by a Contractor General on his own initiative or as a result of representation made to him, if in his opinion such an investigation is warranted. Right? The investigation was initiated following upon concern allegation and comments which were made by the Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Finance and Public Service, regarding the alleged transaction, as well as the responses which had been made to those allegations and comment by the former chairman and chief executive officers of D, B, and G. Now, who can tell me in the comment section who is D, B, and G? And no opposition member of parliament, Mr. Peter Bunting. The allegation and comment suggested in a earlier, so, oh no, not in a inter earlier. So The allegation and comment suggested inter alia that the reference deal were executed by former Minister of Finance and Planning under circumstances which may have been irregular, improper, or lacking in transparency and fairness, and not in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Contractor General Act and the government procurement procedure and guidelines. Section 4.1 of the Contractor General Act 1983 mandates that government contracts must be awarded impartially and on merit and in circumstances which do not involve inappropriately or irregularly. It may be noted that on 2008 April 23, during a sitting of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Adli Shah, Minister of Finance and Public Service, addressed the House of Representatives with regards to certain transactions which were entered into between the government of Jamaica and DB&J. Detailing below are elements of the charge which were made by the Honorable Adli Shah as detailed in Hansard. And Hansard is where we store history basically in Jamaica. To compound this matter, receivables from the sales of National Commercial Bank and Jocelyn Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation instruments were sold under further discounts. Government was holding papers from the AIC and from the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation. Government was holding papers that was due for these institutions. They were sold under further discount to an entity which was close to the government under very questionable circumstances. See? Big up yourself, Selena. Good evening. Where we are cooked this evening? Pat done already? Devon, big up yourself in a Devon, remember. Patricia, big up yourself, Patricia. Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, and Chris Daring, DB&G. Danette, say the same thing. Big up on yourself. See? Forgetting that correctly. They were sold under further discount to an entity which was close to the government under very questionable circumstances. So, we know that Omar Davis was the finance minister at the time. Omar Davis also run the constituency that Mark Golden is now the MP for. Mark Golden was advisor to Omar Davis at that time. So was Peter Bunting. So was Chris Daring. See? So these assets, these government assets that was sold to Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, and Chris Daring, turned them into multi-billionaires, and they paid little or nothing for these assets because they were close to Omar Davis. So Omar Davis actually took government resources because they believed that they owned Jamaica. So they took government resources and sold it to their friends Peter Bunting, Mark Golden, and Chris Daring, which turned them into multi-billionaires, my people. See? In addition, other inexplicable but equally reprehensible acts, including the sale of assets to other government entity while using financial intermediaries unnecessarily and at great cost to the taxpayer. See? So we're going to pass this up. So hopefully remember say I have somebody there. We'll take a pause so and we'll go back to the clip. See? If you don't want me continue to read, tell me. I don't want to go back at the clip. Tell me. I'm going to talk to me fast. But Andrew Holness is a thief, also Daryl Voss. Okay, Carol Rose. Tell you one thing for Andrew Holness thief. May I tell you, say, Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, and Chris Daring stole from the Jamaican people. They stole lands and assets that belongs to the Jamaican people. They were sold it for little or nothing. See? And they knew that what they were doing was wrong. The Contractor General is actually going to outline that to us now. So we know that they stole stuff away from, regular Jamaicans who were fighting for their life to own things and to keep assets. And they put up interest rate by way of the Ministry of Finance. So Omar Davis put up the interest rate on the people them, knowing that they would never be able to pay for it. And then Mark Golding and Peter Bunting and Chris Deering came in and paid little to nothing for the people them assets. That's what happened. And that turned them into multi-billionaires. See? So you tell me one thing with Andrew and Steve, and I'm going to tell you multiple things with Peter Bunting, Mark Golding and Chris Deering stole. See? Wanna say no one go back at the clip or no one continue read. They should be paid back Jamaican people their money. Exactly. They should. I believe that they should be held accountable. You know. Have you not heard what the opposition did to the country for 18.5 years? Do you want I repeat, people stop the licky wanga gut mentality. Because of this type of behavior, politicians lose. Carol Rose, you are notorious Jankro. No, Carol Rose, you are a notorious Jankro. Sorry. Never remember, Walkless Pain to lift up off. Gilbert, big up yourself. That cause people to commit. So you don't tell me if I don't want to continue clip now, I don't want to continue to read. Me have a next clip phone to, you know. See? So, we will listen to about 5 more minutes of this, and then we take on to the next clip.
But help us to understand what happened to you in terms of how you were discarded, how your family business was discarded, and the impact of that on your family.
As you said already, I am a teacher. And I remembered my husband coming in one evening looking very dejected and saying,
Good evening to my beautiful mother-in-law. See you, Papi and Mummy. Good evening.
I have to take your money this month, you know. I said, which money? You pay, man, you pay. So I said, really? Long story short, he said to me, which do you prefer? Material wealth or your life? So, of course, I just cut my eye and said, it has to be my life, of course. I mean, what kind of question that? He said, good. So I said, what does good mean? He's going to take the title of our house and go and see if he can seek some money, because the job that he's doing for the government is not paying as the contract said it should. In other words, if the government owed him $10, they would pay him 10 cents or sometimes 5 cents, just for argument's sake. No, you cannot say the government forfeited on the contract because they're paying something. What he should have done at that stage was to end the job right then and there. But this is Jamaica. And the man has spent decades building his business. And now to be blacklisted by a bad-minded set of people who don't want to see you prosper and do well, he would never get work again.
You see how long PNP bad man? From 1938 until now.
In this country. Because they would say and tell the public that he breached the contract by ending the job before time, and that is why they can't trust him again with any more contracts. Blacklisted, done with you. How would the man continue? I mean, this is his life you're talking about.
Yeah.
So people who beat them chest and say, who, me? Give me title? Carry it, go wherever? No, sir. They fail to understand what it means to be in a contract. Yet when the government did breach our contract, it was hell and powder house to prove to people that we were not inept, that we were not stupid, that we were not forgetful, that we were literally destroyed overnight because of the high interest rates that we could not meet, no matter how many titles did in a shed pan underneath the bed.
And to put this in a wider context, we're speaking and you've written about your own particular experience, but one of the things that you keep going back to in the book is that your experience was not unique to you. You're talking about 44,000 Jamaican businesses.
44,000 Jamaicans, they have a book to write as well. Because when you see who got our assets, and I want to bring this point out quickly, we as the so-called bad debtors offered the government of the day to buy back our assets at 25 cents in the dollar. This is US. And we were refused, we were rejected.
They were refused and rejected. You know why? So, this government took the people them assets. The people them say, alright, we can scrounge up one little money and so sell we back with asset now. We are going to buy back from now. Sell it back. Guess what? Nope. You know why? Because Mark Golding, Peter Bunting, Chris Deering and others, including Peter Phillips, was lining up to buy these people's assets, and they took the people them asset. I believe the house that Peter Phillips live in now is for this lady that is talking now. Eh? That is what they did to poor people in this country, you know. And they don't want to talk about it, you know. Them don't want to talk about it. Jamaica, you know, see me a one, you know. You know, hear me a one in Jamaica. Them are no good people, bad mind. Alright.
And yet they brought in a white Texan man to set up what I call a usury company and sold him our assets at 5 cents in the dollar.
And then you wonder, you know, but you understand, not even wonder, now you understand why you have a 40-year to probably 60 years moratorium on the FINSAC report. But why is there no call, no serious, every time I hear a call for the report to be released, it's coming literally from your lips. Why is Jamaica silent then on the FINSAC Commission report?
Because most of us as black Jamaicans, we have lost it. We have lost our cojones. Go look that up. That is Spanish. Our spine gets soft like cooked macaroni. There is one lady, and I have to give credit where credit is due, Yola Baker. She has been the first lone voice in the wilderness crying out for justice. And I don't know if it's because she's a woman, why she was treated with such ridicule at times. I said, this woman mad, she don't know what she's talking about. And yet when you hear who is living in our house, you eye them open big like saucer.
And you're talking about these houses now that were sold
by this Texan who came and bought our assets for a mere song and a dance and then resold it for profit. And most of the people who bought our assets were well connected in politics. If I tell you who got my house, but I can't do that because you know how this is Jamaica.
Yes.
So
you know,
we have to just clear our throats around certain things. But this is a travesty of justice that should never go unpunished.
and
When you look and see what people bought our assets for, that we worked so hard and honestly for.
And this is why I'm saying to Jamaicans, please read Valerie's book, because she takes us on this journey. And one of the things that made me cry, Valerie, when you first told this story, my sister, you were in the studio, and I read it because you wrote about it in the book. And I know we have just a few minutes to go, but that is a story that tugged on my heart as a daughter, as a sister, when I read it, about how you found out that you'd lost your house and what you saw in a vehicle in terms of your clothes, and what you felt and how dejected you felt, and you know, that whole, just the way you told that story and how it's written in the book. I saw the tears literally dropped onto the page as I was reading, because I felt your pain through those pages. Explain that moment to us.
It was really our very, very helpful and faithful helper who came in one Monday morning. I titled that No Ordinary Monday Morning. And she said to me, Miss D, is what number so-and-so subdivision we live at, ma'am? So I I said, I gave her the number. She said, Lord have mercy. Look here, ma'am. And she gave me the classified section of the newspaper. And she circled public auction, house at lot so and so, subdivision name. And believe you me, my knee went weak. I feel nothing but pure crawly. I run through my knee then. I had to grab a seat. So I said, no, sir. My husband, I forgot to explain this. What is my house doing on a public auction block? Mm-hmm. Long story short, I said, all right. Well, I forgot to use the little education now where we get. That my mother insisted that I should have and like a common sense. And we got, I don't know if this legal or not legal, but at this stage now, I don't care. We got a real estate person to come and look at the house, and he said he know the perfect man who will buy this house from us so that we can avoid having to have it on the auction block. Mm-hmm. See ya? Long story short, when we reached the lawyer now to sign the sale agreement, if you think me did have crawly in my knee back when we hear the news, and now we're going to know who the real owner is going to be. Well, I think something slapped me back to reality, and I said, well, God, whatever this is, I surrender. Mm-hmm. Because I can't do nothing about this. So the lawyer gave us about 3 months in which to pack up our roaches and come out of the people in place. Mm-hmm. This is after raising our family here for at least 2 decades. It was now no longer ours.
And you're talking about an upscale community in...
Yes, you know, shame to say.
Right.
It is a mixed community, but a lot of upscale houses were there. It was really designed for the bauxite managers, the expatriates, the white people to live in this little enclave. Mm-hmm. But things happened in the 70s, and they began to sell lots to upcoming professionals, and we were among professionals. Mm-hmm. We called ours, we went to university, we went to college. So we did all the right things that your mother would have been proud of. Mm-hmm. And my mother was very proud because your education is now paying dividends. Yes. Look here, 2 days after we went to the lawyer, the real estate, I get choked up, but I'll go on. Yeah. The real estate man come back and say, the lady says she want the house now. So anytime I'm nervous, I laugh. I say, oh, you mean no? Didn't we get X time to pack up the carotas and me set my few little plants and things? Him say, no, the so-and-so man said that him have to get the key, otherwise I'm not going to get any commission. Mm-hmm. So you have to move to that. Mm-hmm. Well, me did have like a business to do, so me just looked on him and husband and said, well, I don't see how I can possibly move over 20 years in one day, so I want to work it out. Hear what the man tell me, say, this so-and-so man knows of 2 houses to rent, and I must go and choose one of them. Well, you don't argue with certain kind of people in this country. Mm-hmm. So I went and I said, one of them was in the same community, so I would look at that one, because the other one wasn't suitable. Mm-hmm. See, ma'am? When I reach what I think is the address, is a truck that I see in front of the gate, and there is my gardener giving instructions as to how he must come through the 2 columns.
You know, guys, it is very important that we archives and document these things. You know, me I look for the Meshack Willis documentary, and me can't find it. These people, they are trying to scrub the internet of these things. So it is important that we document these and keep these for the future generation to learn just how wicked the PNP is. See, we continue to listen.
Totally down the people in gate column. Mm-hmm. When I look into the truck, listen to it, but what? How them things they look like my things so? When we see curtain, I mean drapery, wrap up with plate, wrap up with shoes, some sofa just catch precariously on the side of the truck, and I said, but what is happening here? So I turned to the guy, I said, what's going on? Him don't look at me all now. Him say, the man said, we have to move, ma'am. I said, but I don't even look inside of this house. I pass here every day. This house lock up how much years now? So how you mean you putting the things in that condition? He said, the man said, then don't give the key. Well, they're iron by now. go back up the driveway to go jump in my car, go back round the house to go see this man. When it's this man now come park right in front of me, see ya? I march up to him now, fire, snap, you name it. When I look on the back seat of the man's car, not even car, car, I'm going to close that pack up from the seat right up to the ceiling.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So I believe you me, it was like Dunn's River Falls busted on my head. The eye water just gush. Here the man look for me and say, you can stand about your holler. Me have to get my commission today, and him say today 3 times. The man just pans up my clothes, man handle my clothes off and see, encircle my clothes and burst past me gone down the driveway, enter inside of this house that I don't look into yet. I don't know where I'm trying to put them down and come back out and take another load and it went until the car unpacked with my clothes and then drive off.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know, and that is just part of the experience.
And that was just part of what happened to us, whose only crime was to create employment for Jamaicans. Because when my husband was at the top of his game, of course, you know, you're going to have the bad-minded people and who say, boy, the Dixon and this, that, and that. But he was employing from degreed architect, degreed people come right down to murderer who are wait to get him sentenced as the person who is manual labor and push barrow. That is the amount, that is the extent of what we were doing for our country as black people, as black producers, as black entrepreneurs. And this is the experience that Mythic Megalia had to go through because of government and politics.
You know,
when I see who get that house, I'm telling you, I am telling you,
you said
one but Dunn's River bus again. So
yeah, but we leave it there. You have said a lot in the book, and we don't want to talk about all of the books still. We also, although we need to have the conversation here, but we need persons to go and get the book. We also need you to read the book, and we need you to make the calls and write the letters and ask the questions in the public spaces. What happened to the FINSAC report? Why the FINSAC report under lock and key for 40 odd years when most people dead and gone? That's the question that we need to ask. Who is the FINSAC report protecting? Why and it must be a whole host of people who are being protected by why this report is under lock and key. But it's one of the injustices that's a scar on the conscience of Jamaica, and one that we want to ensure that on our.
I must tell you, my people, that the year 2011, when the PNP returned to power, Portia Simpson Miller, then Prime Minister of Jamaica, cut all funding to the FINSAC report and buried the report, my people. Loads of documents went missing, and this is why this government couldn't provide the report in its entirety, because loads of stuff went missing, my people. So they had to just release the whole archives of what they got right now. But we know it is somewhere. One day it will turn up, and we will see all of the wickedness that these people perpetuated throughout Jamaica. We need 3 more thumbs up to get to 100 likes, my people, on the live. So hit the 3 dots in the right hand corner of the screen. Get me 3 more thumbs up. Get me to 100 thumbs up. And do subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. And luckily, the documentary that I am looking for that I couldn't find, I did a live on it before. So I just found it. So we're going to play that after this.
Our watch? On our watch, we do that which we are supposed to do. Yes.
Yes, Taboo, and I want to end by saying that when you see the color of the people who got bailed out, and when you see the color of the people who are under the same circumstances and were destroyed, it makes you draw the conclusion that most of us are too black to succeed. So the brown ones and white ones, too white and brown to fail, and we the black ones, too black to succeed. I'm not care who argue with me. That was my experience. I lived through it, and even now we're not quite out of the woods, but it could have worse, as the Boyer Street would have said.
Well, one of the things you have done in the book is to, and that's why the book is a history text, because you've looked at this from a historical perspective. You've looked at Morley Moore, Marcus Messiah Garvey, you've looked at Leonard Howell, you've looked at Paul Bogle and those who marched in the Stony, in the Morant Bay War, and you've situated FINSAC and the black entrepreneurs, the 44,000 black entrepreneurs in Jamaica who were made to fail by being branded bad debtors. And now, some have come in.
Know how to run business. That's why we say. Imagine a man who has never earned the reputation of an entrepreneur, does not know what it is to find a pay bill when you have men waiting on that pay bill to go home to feed them family. And that man who has never made a pay bill in his life, going to look at people who have 50 years experience as entrepreneur, black entrepreneur who built this country since independence, and you go and look on them and style them as bad debtors.
You know, Omar Davies really does have a lot to say to, he has not yet made, he needs to one apologize, but he also, and he...
So, I see that this person called Roger Gallimore, who is very silly, very stupid. And you know, you find it stupid, this set of people, dunce set of people to be PNP. You know, this lady is talking about the experience, what she went through personally. And this asswipe is here talking about, we should show him report. You know, see how dunce them people have been my paper? And this is why Jamaica was never able to move further than what it is today. They're stupid, silly people.
He was the finance minister at the time, and this is why I'm identifying him. But he really does have to stand up before he dies and talk to those survivors, talk to those victims. Some killed themselves, some committed suicide. This is how serious this was. Talk to the Jamaican entrepreneurs, the black people in Jamaica who suffered so as a result of those of FINSAC, and making peace with God and the ancestors. Val, we'll continue the conversation.
And you quickly realize that the black investor has virtually disappeared from the Jamaican scene. All we've seen is foreigners. Huh? What happened to us? And who wouldn't be afraid now as a black person to go back into business?
As the question was asked,
by the way, where are our collateral?
Well, thank God, Jamaica is on the up again and under the movement of the most honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Holness. We saw 24,000 new business created in Jamaica last year, and most of those are black entrepreneurs. We're starting to build back all of this degradation and all of this downgradement that the PNP caused the Jamaican people and the middle classes and the people, the entrepreneur class of Jamaica. We are now seeing it being rebuilt by Andrew Holness. And we must keep this government in tow, my people. Remember somebody telling you.
That would I use again to get more funding to keep going again. As I tell you, is education saved us.
Right. Val, good. We're going to continue this conversation. Where can we get the book before you go?
The book can be had at Kingston Bookshop, any of their branches, C-Mart Bookstore in Ligani Plaza, and online, Kindle, and Amazon.com. And I don't want anybody to tell me foolishness about, oh, you rich already, so then not support the book, because I've had that said to me. Can you imagine? No, that is the weight of the bad-mindedness.
They don't know your story.
I am trying to let the millennial generation know themselves and their identity. I don't care about money. As a matter of fact, if I could get this book sponsored, I would give it free to every Jamaican young person who is thinking of investing in Jamaica, to make certain that they never ever make what happened 20 odd years ago ever.
There is no report Roderick. The report never completed. The money that Bruce Golding pumped into the report when Portia Simpson Miller came back to government, they cut the money and discontinued the report. They did it. They buried it. Many things are missing out of the report. This is why the government cannot provide the report in its entirety. Persons that was commissioned to do the report also died. So we don't know when they have in their yard put on in a one corner somewhere. Then dead. That is why we couldn't give them the report, because persons that was on the report commission died. And Portia Simpson Miller buried the rest of it because she know the consequences of it should it come out. And this is why this government could not provide the report. So them just archive everything. So them show we everything that they had. Then just give it to us for us to pick sense out of nonsense. But we have what the AG said. The Attorney General, we have what the AG said. Or the Contractor General, sorry. The Office of the Contractor General, we have what he said. We're going to get to that conclusion after the next thing. So now listen to this, my people. Listen to this.
I'm suffering inside and everything. I'm very frustrated. Even right now, as I hear now, we don't have any water in this yard here. And it's a weir on the background there. There's a very, very bad condition. I have to go and bathe. Understand? And I have to lift water from here, go around there, go bathe. No water, no facility. If you notice, there are a whole heap of people living in the yard here. And
let me just tell you, my people, this brother that is speaking here, his name is Meshach Willis. You know, FINSAC have left him poor and destitute. I believe he's selling bag juice. He's partially disabled and he's now selling bag juice, I believe, in Clarendon. Somebody can correct me from a Clarendon or Manchester, but he's now selling bag juice on the street. And this is an entrepreneur that built himself from scratch. See? Trying to create a better life for his children. And the PNP destroyed him. You know, hear me I tell you no? Listen.
it's poverty.
Adjusting to his new life has been difficult for Meshach Willis. The entrepreneur has fallen on hard times since losing his house as a result of the financial sector collapse of the 1990s.
You use a certain type of life. And to move down to this level, it's not easy to cope with it. Many of my friends, them and other people who know me and know where I am now and know where I used to be, said to me that they don't know how I manage it. They don't know how I manage it. And some people say they couldn't live it out. Even my children, them sometimes them confused because they've never used to this kind of life. And they don't know how to cope with it. It is so hard. It's very, very hard to cope with life like this.
After working hard for several years to build his dream house, he was thrown out in an instant, losing belongings he and his family had spent years accumulating. The FINSAC entrepreneur claims his house, which was valued at between $9 and $11 million, was offloaded by FINSAC for just $3.5 million.
At the time when the house sold, they said that who 11.8 million.
So now listen to this. Them take him an house, you know. Him an house worth 11.8 million. Them sell it. So them take it from him, you know. And them sell it for 3 point something million, probably to one of their friends. And then still a try if say the man owe the balance of the money, you know. After them take what the asset, you know, worth 11 million, you know. And sell him an asset for 3 point something million, you know. And them still a try if say the man owe the balance of the money, you know. You know what a wicked set of people than like this? Mighty God of Daniel. You know see how Michael Manley did afraid for dead and never want dead? And so Mark Golden and Peter Bunting are afraid for dead. Because they now go want to see God's face. Straight to hell, them a go.
And they said they sold it for 3.5 and I still have a balance of 7 point something. Up to now, I don't know if I still owe that money or what happened. I don't know if I have a money in my hand now, if they will come to me for that money because they say I owe it, and I don't know if it's still doing interest. Because every time we ask for an account, nobody won't give it to us.
Mr. Willis says he ended up being FINSAC'd because he took a revolving loan from the now defunct Eagle Commercial Bank. However, with the interest rates skyrocketing, he, like many others, found it difficult to keep a pace with the financial demands. Dealing with the emotional toll of FINSAC hasn't been easy for many who were forced to start life all over again. The news of a Manchester couple's suicide late last...
Yes, so somebody correct me. He sells bag juice in halfway tree, my people, not Clarendon or Manchester. So I was mistaken. I remember we were raising funds for him on Chuck's Live. Some time ago we were asking for gifts to assist him because I believe he's walking with a Zimmer frame or something like that. You know, the PNP government has destroyed this man. Mighty God. You know, I don't know how these people sleep in their bed at night time.
Last year, which was linked to FINSAC. It's skyrocketing. He, like many others, found it difficult to keep a pace with the financial demands. Dealing with the emotional toll of FINSAC hasn't been easy for many who were forced to start life all over again. The news of a Manchester couple's suicide late last year, which was linked to FINSAC, hasn't surprised Mishik Lewis.
Many other people just dead. They take it to heart and dead. My wife, I know that she couldn't take the pressure. That's why she died. You understand? And if I continue like this, I go dead too. And leave my children them. Nothing. Nobody life shouldn't go like that.
Lascelles Poyser is another FINSAC entrepreneur who believes there are many untold stories about the emotional fallout from FINSAC.
I know some of these people personally, you know, and I grieve for them, you know.
I want to listen to too much money the man are saying, oh. I want to listen to how wicked paid people. I want to listen to the part of people. Listen keenly, because I might miss it.
Some are sick, some can't take it. There's one gentleman, when he told me of his wife killed herself. I'm not going to name because he's still around. And when he sold his house, he was living in Stone Hill. Very nice house. He almost gave it away. Beautiful home. The wife couldn't take it. She suffered more than him, you know. Ended up shooting herself.
Mr. Poyser is a real estate developer who says he borrowed $9 million to help fund the housing development. But like other entrepreneurs bitten by the FINSAC bug, he saw his debt ballooning out of control.
The interest rate went from 14, maybe 18% to 100% with penalty and interest, 150%. It was totally impossible. So the more we pay is the more interest gone on. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, you know. And one debt, it was what, $909 million.
You know, hear a man saying, oh, you know, hear that? Somebody, me say for now, listen. Tell me in the comment section what the man they saying, oh, a while ago. Somebody tell me. Me say for now, listen to this, Jamaica. You know, tell me quick and fast how much the man they say before we play back the clip. Tell me how much the man they saying, oh, a while ago. $100. We'll go again. Somebody else. 9 million. Somebody else go. The man saying, oh, $909 million. When you get them money that you pay, somebody tell me, mighty God of Daniel. But we play back again.
150%, it was totally impossible. So the more we pay is the more interest gone on. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, you know. And one debt, it was what, $909 million. And that one I think I've actually paid over $100 million.
Like many FINSAC entrepreneurs, Lascelles Poyser says the initial stages were difficult. But his biggest tragedy was losing his wife, who packed up and left him, taking the children.
When things were not going good, she took the opportunity. She could not deal with it, really. She was an ophthalmologist. As a doctor, she could not deal with my falling from grace, if you like. So she went back home. That, I think, was the biggest of my disaster.
He says for many years he wasn't allowed to see his children as his wife partially blamed him for her company going under because of FINSAC. The realtor admits that the events left him in a daze.
I was upstairs sleeping most days, just gone from myself. And it was really devastating.
Despite losing property estimated at $500 million Jamaican dollars to FINSAC, Lassell Poyser admits that he's better off than many other entrepreneurs who lost their life savings in the financial sector meltdown. He's banking on a major development in St. Thomas, which he's now working on to turn his life around. However, Meshach Willis isn't seeing a light at the end of his tunnel anytime soon. He says he's extremely disappointed with what he believes is the Portia Simpson Miller administration's perceived lack of commitment.
Wait, man, there. What did I say? I lie, me I tell. When gone? When I listen.
To concluding the FINSAC inquiry.
I believe that this government should have anxious to see that the people who suffer in a condition like this to get some redress, even to bring out the inquiry and get it that everybody can know what happened, and to see how people are suffering within it. I think they should be the one who willing and anxious to get it up front, that people can get to understand themselves and people can get some redress and put themselves together again.
Like many FINSAC entrepreneurs, Meshach Willis just wants closure.
My life torn down because of these people. You understand? And I am suffering. When I say I'm suffering, I'm suffering. Life is very hard. I don't know for everybody, but I believe my life has been robbed. And I want back my life.
When you look for Mark Golding get to hide all that money in a trust. See, we don't know where Mark Golding money they hide in a trust, and Mark Golding tear down the life of this man. Hard working man. We don't want to see condition when me look upon where man live. The man walk with a crutch. See? And not even look a Regis. Portia could make a man then get, and them bury the report and hide where them fi hide. This government can't release a full report because they don't have it. It is not present. They hide where they fi hide. When you hear me I tell you in Jamaica. See? Wicked people them this. Destroy this man. See? But anyway, we're going to take on now to back to the report itself. From the OCG at the time. Let me see if I can find back when I did there. And we'll get to the conclusion of what the AG said. See? So, I'm not going to bore you with the long reading. I'll try and find the conclusion part and read the summary of what the conclusion say. Even though sometimes I work while I read out these things, but I want to see the conclusion, my people. That's what I want to go now, so you can hear for yourself. Okay, I read one little part of it now. Cause first them say no deal took place. So I read from here so. But then say no deal took place. And then we get down in a hit, my people. According to a media report which was published on the Radio Jamaica website on 2008 May 15, and which was entitled No FINSAC / DB&G deal took place. Mr. Peter Bunting was quoted as saying, "I acknowledge that discussions for the sale of receivables to JRF did occur, but that the transaction did not take place. The documentation presented by Mr. Shaw present a short-term budgeting facility, which was facilitated given that the transaction didn't occur." I don't know what that means. You can take one or one take out of that. It must be noted that despite the foregoing assertions of Mr. Bunting, it was reported in an article which was published in Jamaica Gleaner newspaper on 2008 May 22 that during a sitting of the House of Representatives on 2008 May 21, Mr. Bunting retracted statements he made last week accusing Finance and the Public Service Minister Adi Shah of misleading the House with his claim about a so-called sweetheart deal. See, the reference article that was entitled Bunting Recants apologizes to Shah, and which was published on 2008 May 22, stated in part that Bunting said the transaction which occurred was a short-term financing arrangement or agreement which showed full payment of US $29.6 million by the Ministry of Finance to DB&G within 120 days. Given the many allegations and irritations of the allegation, transaction which have been the subject of much discourse both in the House of Parliament and in the media, the OCG on 2008 May 22 launched an investigation into the aforementioned allegation. Now more get to what the contractor general had concluded. So we are check. May I look for the conclusion, my people. We are at the term of reference. It is 1,000 pages long, my people. So anybody will want to find it, it is on the JIS. So if you don't want to go read it for yourself, it is on JIS. And you can go through. You don't have to take my word for it. Because, most time people don't want to believe what we are saying because them things say, true we are labor, we are tell lie. See? So let me see what the conclusion says. Okay, with their findings now. So listen to this. Allegation which was made by the Honorable Adi Shah. Given the extent of the allegation which were made by the Honorable Adi Shah during his presentation to Parliament on 2008 April 23, the OCG, by way of a written statutory requisition which was dated 2008 June 12, sought to ascertain specific information, clarification, and or documentation from Minister Adi Shah regarding the referenced allegation. According to the OCG, in its written acquisition that was addressed to Minister Shah, asks inter alia the following verbatim question: what transaction between Government of Jamaica and Darren Bunting and Golding did you classify in your closing presentation to the House of Representatives on April 23, 2008 as sweetheart deal? Explain the rationale for classifying the Government of Jamaica transaction listed in question requisition 1 above with DB&G as sweetheart deal. In his sworn statement to the OCG, which was dated 2008 July 17, Minister Adi Shah posited the following response. The two transactions between Government of Jamaica and Deering and Bunting and Golden Limited, which were referred to in the closing budget presentation, are signed term sheet of a sale of receivables arising from the sale of shares in National Commercial Bank Jamaica Limited, signed on March 26, 2004. B. Sales of government receivables which full resource to the Government of Jamaica, signed on 31st March 2005. What are sweetheart deal? Investopedia, a Forbes media company, described as sweetheart deal as a merger, a sale, or an agreement in which one party in the deal present the other party with a very attractive terms and condition. The terms are usually so lucrative, that it is difficult to justify turning down the offer. In general, sweetheart deal is a transaction that simply can't be passed up. See it? I mean, if you get to where the OCG decide. See? Alright, let me ask Peter Bunting question. I need to get to this part. It kind of long, my people, but I want to kind of get to the conclusion. Because we don't want to long out the program no longer. But we want to tell you what the OCG decided at the end. See? Sorry, my people. we kind of silent right now, but we want to forget what the OCG said at the time. It is a long document, my people. So me have to read. When I listen to this, I'm so glad to listen to this. The sale price would be the face value of the receivables of US 29.59 million less the discount equal to 2.19986% per annum for 3 months at a rate of 7%. Example, US $28.9 million. See, government would, an actual receipt of these receivables, repay DB&G the full amount by July 29, 2005 for onward payment investors. So they lend this government this money and the government was to pay them back within 3 months, my people. And they would have paid them back. We are trying to find the figure because we know the figure, but we are read it too. No? See? So we don't know how much money they get. So they lend the government almost 30 million. And we want to find the sum in this. See? We want to tell you how much they get paid back. Anybody know in our chat can tell you? So them lend the government 29.29 million. See? And wait there. The government could really pay them back, my people, because the government did broke under them. So what they did, they paid them back some of the money within 3 months. And then they were allowed to take away people's things. That is what really happened. But I want to find a conclusion for you. Yo, this is sitting here along your frig. Roger, still I go and can't stop. So basically, my people, Omar Davis, I never remember no deal with Mark Golding and Peter Bunting. See? So for that 29 million that they lend the government of Jamaica, they were paid 300 million United States dollars, and they still get paid for that till this day. You can find that if you go look in a report, you can find that. Let me see which page is sir. It is way down, my people. But they were paid 300 million United States dollar. Now I want to tell me how much billion Jamaican dollar that. Because when I say Mark Golding is a billionaire, you know, people don't believe me. See? Alright, so here what I go do. I go look through the document. For the next day, I'm going to go to the conclusion. But a sweetheart deal was done by Omar Davis to Darren Bunting and Golding. See? They paid them almost quadruple. Well, not almost. Quadruple for floofle or whatever looper you know want put it. The money that they lend them. And they were allowed to take asset that belonged to the state because the government could have paid them back that 29 point something million that they loaned us. See? And that's why I have 68 bank accounts, my people. 32 of which is personal accounts. But they have 68 accounts altogether, Mark Golding. See? So, I'm going to look through the document. Tomorrow morning, I come live. I'll give you guys the conclusion. So, now stay tuned. People that have followed me, have subscribed me. Sorry for the long pause at the end. You know, I can't go through the 1,000 page to find all of that one time. But, you know, when I get the gist, when I hear the story, I don't want to lie what I tell. But I will look to this tonight, find the conclusion as to what the AG said, or the OCG said, and I will bring it forth to the people tomorrow. So, guys, we're going to call it an end to the live. We do an hour and a half. So, big up on yourself, and I will soon know in the morning with the conclusion. See? Big up on yourself. Shower labor rights.